you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hearer of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
I'm your host, Mr. A.H.A.D, and with me always I have Brother Precursor and my other brother in the faith, Brother A.H.A.D. Good evening, brothers. I need to speak about his vice president. We're going to get right into our show. We've been talking about for the last couple of shows concerning the signs of the times. And one of the reasons Allah have Holy-Apostle Deen for this day and time is part of his promise and is what is sending down for the world today. His presence being here is a sign of the Lord's anger with not just society but the world as a whole. At the same time, he sent down as a grace and a mercy for those who will turn back to the Lord's covenant. It's a grievance that is sent down for staying time. I'm going to read a portion of Malachi, from the Book of Malachi, from chapter 1, verses 6 through 9, concerning what the Lord Ahezaah, Allah, Elohim is speaking about for this day. Verse 6, a son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. If then I be a father, where is mine honor? And if I be a master, where is my fear? Saith the Lord of hosts unto you, O priests, that despise my name. And ye say, wherein have we despised thy name? Ye offer polluted bread upon mine altar. And ye say, wherein have we polluted thee? In that ye say, the table of the Lord is contemptible. And if you offer the blind for sacrifice, is it not evil? And if you offer the lame and sick, is it not evil? Offer it now unto thy governor. Will he be pleased with thee, or accept thy person, save the Lord of hosts? That was Book of Malachi, chapter 1, verses 6 through 8. And the reason why we brought that topic because it's one of the reasons why Ahezaah's anger is manifested in this world today. Out of his grace and mercy, Ahezaah Allah has sent Holy-Apostle Deen with a forerunning book that we spoke about before called the Precursor to the Divine Book of Recitation. That is the book that speaks and prepares you for the Book of the Covenant itself, the Divine Book of Recitation, subtitled the Holy Clarifying. And in that book, the Precursor, Allah speaks about in a layman sort of detail in everyday English that you can relate to about the signs of the time for the day. And one of the subdivisions of the book, entitled The Patriotic Citizens of National Borders, Ahezaah speaks about what we just spoke about in Malachi. And it says, most of the people that are established for the cause of the government in the many varieties of organizations in this society are patriotic in one way or another. And the causes and ways of a government that the Lord is angry with. They have most commonly followed the leaders of government into their ways that are most time leading to organized evil that is made to seem fair, but is often leading to perdition. Unaware that most of their education and beliefs are aimed towards ways designed to turn seekers of real truth away from the one that all divine prophets represent. Most of the people are taken by the illusion of being independent of the Creator. And because they are unaware of the ever-active eternal being who is ever the hidden master that gives life and time to their minds, they give homage to men and women of theirs and other kinds against the Lord's directions. Unfortunately, for most of them, they continue in their ways until Allah brings a time of no turning back for its calamity that is brought down upon them. By their beliefs and false claims of being independent in mind, they devise and enforce man-made laws on earth for the communities of man as well as for creatures of lesser minds. And unfortunately, in much of what they do, they bring about mass destruction within and about the inner and outer existence of mankind and other things, corrupting them without fear of the Lord Almighty. That's from the Precursor to the Divine Book of Recitation, pages 13 and 14. As I said before, Ahezaah Allah, out of his mercy, has sent this book concerning the signs of the time for this day. And in doing that, it is warning this government, this society, the world of humanity as a whole, about if it doesn't turn back to what Ahezaah has sent down to them this day, The calamity that you have just seen thus far going on in the world today will continue on a greater scale. So all that have lived, those who have survived, that promised to live, 144,000 that is calling for this day. And in doing that, we're going to turn and get into our discussion about this topic a little more in depth. How do you feel about what you just heard and read from the Malachi, as well as from the Precursor to the Roman Recitation, about what's going on?
Well, may Jesus peace and blessing be upon your presence.
May His peace bless you as well.
Reflecting on the reading of the Book of Malachi, when Malachi is calling out to the people, I think he says, you give, to paraphrase, you're giving your Lord something that's not the most sincere offering, or it's not the best offering. You give me polluted food on my table. You give me watered down products. But when you turn to your governors, your kings, you give them the best of yourself. You give them the best of your energies, which I understand how that verse comes. Yeah, that's comparable then now to today,
Right.
as Lord Holy-Apostle Deen has been made to point out to us in the Lord I use Precursor,
Right.
that today, the people who, the numbers of people and organizations that profess to, on their days of worship and solemn,
Right.
supposed solemn remembrance, they give praise to Lord Ahezaah in the names that they understand Ahezaah to be. But in the reality, when it comes time for them to respond to their governments, to respond to their employers, or to respond to their mortgagers or whomever, they give extra energy, they give extra attention. They're ever more mindful, And it's not to say that they should not be in order in giving those organizations, those entities, that type of attention,
Right.
but they can't give the same comparable attention to the Lord of all worlds, as if they don't truly recognize that the Lord of all worlds is a reality, just as real as those things, those governments, those other things that they give so much energy to, are very real realities.
I think about something that Ahezaah said through the mouth of Jesus in his time, when he went to the temple and the people had the money changes and they were going on, things going on. And he came in there, he know certain time of the day that was set aside for prayer, as Allah established for them as established for us. And he went there at different times, seeing the people not worshiping the Lord as it should be worshipped, and fearing all of it, and they were going about having business. So when Jesus came in there, and they portrayed Jesus sometimes in a way that he was so peaceful, so loving, but it's saying they don't put him as a true man of the Lord, a man who had the fear and anger of the Lord coming through, and he manifested to the people. When he came in there and whipped them changes out of it, saying, this is supposed to be a house of worship, you have made it into a den of thieves, putting that, what you be talking about now, again, things of this world above that which the Lord has sent down today. And that's the thing that people need to understand, that they're turning their political leaders out here, and that the government is going to save them. Not realizing real safety and real saving is in Allah, and what is sent down of its agreement for this day. And the saving grace is what is sending down with its message of being here for this day and time. Something that we need to think about. But at the same time, people look to every other thing other than the Lord, which is real and is present now, that they didn't know about, that has heard them in their prayers of looking for true salvation to come upon this world. And in doing that, they need to look at that seriously. These signs that's going on in the world is a sign of the reality of the Lord's anger that's being manifested.
But even an interesting, Brother Happy, if I may interject before we speak, the sign of those catastrophes, the people are slow sometimes in giving recognitions to the source and reality behind those catastrophes. So, as Ahezaah has promised in past times to past people, these catastrophes are going to become more so manifest and more so manifest, so the people will no longer be able to deny. And then, I think I recall reading in times past, it was too late for them to turn to Ahezaah for salvation at that point. So we're talking about a critical time.
Oh, definitely.
I know one of the things that strike me, that is very striking about the teachings of Lord Holy-Apostle, is that he is constantly reminding us that it is Aziz Allah that we need to keep up front and first. This is the way in the tradition of Muhammad and Jesus and Abraham. They were ever conscious of Aziz Allah. I mean, there was not a moment in the...
No, you mean Ahezaah. Ahezaah, yeah. This is something Allah does. You know, I hear you. It's all right, dude. So,
No, thank you for...
Alhamdulillah. That's what it's all about, you know.
But this is the brother. He said that in an earlier show that the Precursor, we recall that he was describing the Precursor, and engaging. You know how heavy the Precursor was. He said, so 1,000-page book. Actually, the Precursor is about 650 thereabouts.
Right.
But it feels like 10,000.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. In the way.
But I want to get back to this.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I don't want to hear.
In that, most of the things that you're describing of the religious leaders and our government leaders are bringing, making us, inundating us with all types of things, and that sits before us before we stop to remember that in our faith, in the practice of our faith, we're to keep Allah first and foremost. And that is the remembrance. This is the tradition of the prophets.
Sure
and
did,
Lord Holy
sure
Apostle reminds us in our everyday teaching, just sitting back watching him in his everyday moves and the things that he says, even in the instructions in classes, he is constantly keeping Allah up front. And that's what we're not getting today from our religious leaders. And I wonder if that's one of the biggest things that I see, but that becomes a problem to us. And we now, you know, I was sitting there watching in every inauguration of a president, they have Billy Graham sitting up there as if he co-signs that this man is okay. But we missed the picture. Billy Graham isn't putting Allah up front. He isn't reminding these leaders that, you know, when you're stating laws, we're supposed to be stating them in a certain way. When we're running things, teaching things, we're supposed to be doing it in a certain way. And that's what we're not getting as the class of people who are searching, who are in need.
Just they put Ahezaah first, a person of Reverend Graham's speaking skill too. He'll craft his speaking as well as others, and Mr. Farrakhan or the other known speakers, whomever they are. They'll speak in such a way, and the people will be engaged by how well they speak. So yes, Billy Graham might, for example, or his son Franklin Graham, or
I mean, any of these religious leaders that are thrown up in front of us. I mean, Sharpton, all of them.
When it's their time to speak on behalf of those governments or behalf of those material entities, they'll craft it so that Ahezaah is yes condoning or is putting an imprint on what they're doing, on the proceedings for that day. But they're giving equality. But like you said, they won't put Ahezaah first. No. They're not even supposed to put Ahezaah on a same level as any
that
of
goes
them.
back in line what the Lord says in his book. You cannot serve God and man. This day and time, Allah is making a demarcation. The line is drawn here. You're going to be for the Lord Most High, or you're going to be for the devil.
For the Lord alone.
Yeah. Most definitely. And in doing that, the people in religion, in politics, they all have made a choice, whether they say it verbally, but it's manifest in their actions. They have put other than the Lord first, and all that they're doing is shown in what's going on in society today. I had a chance to look at this little bit of the Million Movement March yesterday, watching the spectator on television. And as all of the different speakers spoke beautiful, eloquent words, but their message was light and what they truly trying to get across. They looking for unity. The thing is that the unity ain't going to come until you accept what is here now. And what is here now before them is the sign of the Lord Holy-Apostle Deen being a sign of that saving grace. At the same time, he's come with the Lord's book in the coming that could unify them in spirit and in truth and in the heart of what's going on.
That's what I find interesting. The Lord Holy-Apostle would have said that only Allah brings unity. You're just a vessel.
Exactly.
It's interesting. All these religious leaders can look at this man. How could you find problem with him telling us or reminding us, you bring your Lord up first in your thought, in your action, in your deed? To me, all religious leaders should be running to this man and saying, well, how is it do we get this message back? Or it just boggles my mind that he stands alone saying, this is the crux. This is the beginning. This is the end.
You know where it goes in that? Goes back to saying, it's no different in this day and time than the days before us. The very people, when the Lord's man comes on the scene, whether it be Holy Apostle Deen, was Jesus multiple times, it was always the religious people fought against them first. They think they have got religion.
Yes.
It's sewn in. It's packed down. Now when the true man of the Lord comes, they're the first ones, not the people, but the religious leaders are the first one to go against him. Hey, wait a minute, because he goes against the grain of what Malachi is saying here. You say you offer to me the best. Right. But yet you have subtracted, made side deals, cut deals to make your plate look fuller, so Allah said, I'm not accepting offers if it ain't truly in heart, truly for me and me alone. And in doing that, these are the people, that's when he comes, he's reflecting the light of truth of the Lord Ahezaah Allah in what he's saying. And he's calling them to accountability. If they say they represent the Lord, then I'm here. Then if you truly believe in the Lord, then when I come, it should automatically, you should fall in line to the truth that I bring.
Right.
Not to me, but to the truth that Ahezaah bringing through me. You say you bear witness to your books that you profess to believe in, then when I come, it should,
That
should
should
fall like a
confirm
domino
everything.
effect.
But interestingly enough, the teachings of the book say today tells them of a day such as today, when the speaking voice, when the living voice is now standing present before you. And those books, the study of those books was to prepare those people. It's not to say in a million more march that was just that those people may not have been sincere, or I will say maybe the people were sincere in believing that those the various organizations or political entities or those the concepts that they were appealing to help with their problems, to help with the issues that were being put forth, they were sincere that they might bring about. But when you ask about the sincerity that Ahezaah, the creator and master of those entities, of time and our minds, the creator and master of all those things, that reality to appeal to them, they become suspect. They're not prepared to even
See,
But if they're not
sincerely,
prepared, what
check
do
it
we
out.
do when we sit in the synagogues, churches, and masjids? I mean, what are we reading? What are we taking in when we read of the
I think
accounts?
they're taking in fantasy. They've decided to, the story sounds good about Jesus.
We
and
lost touch with the reality.
never gained touch with the reality. For Muhammad was 1400 years ago. Sure, I could follow Muhammad. He was, it's easy for me to say I would follow Muhammad 1400 years ago, or Jesus 2000 years ago, when it's already a story that's passed and done in that matter and it's been concluded.
That goes back.
I would have fit right in that.
That goes back into accountability. But something that Ahezaah is bringing to thought and mind, many times those leaders, they go in there, maybe a true intention, but they get sidetracked by their devils. And once they devil kick in, their ego kick in, now I'm seeking praise, whether they acknowledge it, they say it verbally, but it's showing action. Look to me, instead of not looking to the Lord. So you have been they're turning you away in a subtle way, away from Ahezaah Allah to themselves. And in doing that, that's where the misguidance coming to people. People now lose the hope and the faith and the trust that they're going on. And their leaders refuse, like Farrakhan, to hear the one that have come to him. We're going to go on a little bit later in Malachi, when Allah sent him to Elijah's temple. Who will abide in his calling when he came there? They turned away, though they never heard him. Who is this man? We looked him up. As if the Lord's message had come with a card in his pocket, a business card, say, I'm here now. No. That's the same thing Allah said Moses to Pharaoh.
But what if
he
he
came
with
in?
a business card today? I mean, not to dispute
Right.
anything. Even if the question, if it's a sincere thing, and if these people are the ministers, Farrakhan's, and those likes are supposed to be sincere as they profess to be on their television programs and the like, when someone comes with a case, I can't give him 1 minute to hear those words. I can't give him 30 seconds. I got to send an emissary or a secretary to say that he's not here, that he's out of town. Who are you?
What does it say again? If he couldn't have to do that, if he give it his man, like Allah tells us, once they come in contact with the messenger, they're held accountable. If I turn him away, like I ignore him, it's like he don't exist. So therefore, because if I had to stand before him, that means I even have a possibility chance of giving up my control.
That's that ego you're talking
back to the
about.
devil themselves. That ego going on. I mean, if he's real, then I must humble myself. And that's part of the thing that men of power have a hard time to do. They rise quick, but they fall. They peak in their time when it come, they have to fall.
So like we said,
they don't submit it in the righteous way. And that fall when it's the hard.
Some of those so-called men of religion and men of power are interchangeable. It's just the same thing.
Let me ask this: why are we here? We're not getting that. We're not getting back to that point. A lot of what I get when I'm seeking is, what am I doing here? Why am I here? What is my purpose?
Allah explains to you in the Quran beautifully. And Allah said He created a man that He may worship it. It's sending down laws and orders how to live your life in order with Allah's plan.
Away from that.
Back to what the term religion means again. It is your way of life. Allah has established a way of life prescribed for us in His holy books.
I think we read it.
But we have the benefit of being reminded of that in seeing a constant example.
No, they do too. In those synagogues, churches, all the places of religious worship, they have it too. But like we just said again, they don't see the Lord as being real and present now.
You see it as a
But
story.
That's the difference.
But doesn't that go to their teacher and the teachings and the examples? Like I just said, we benefit from seeing the living prophet in action. through his teaching.
With the Holy Apostle, everything is made clear. By Allah's wisdom, his divine guidance speaks through him.
Okay, what about their religious leaders? What Allah's not blessing them to make it clear, or is that the devil's work?
No, Allah is beautiful. Allah says it again in his books. Do they have a word from Allah? They have a word from Allah, or are they speaking in conjecture? They're guessing. They haven't been made aware, haven't rose into the divine unity of awareness of Allah brings down through his true messenger prophets. They haven't gained in that nearness of Allah speaking through them. They realize that Allah's reality of all things, and all things are manifested through what Allah brings forth in his creation. They see Allah in all things, whereas these people, they got religious, they got doctrine, they got PhDs on the wall saying, I've been taught this, I've gained, I've learned this. But true men of the Lord don't come with that type of, they come with the Lord's word and the signs that's shown that's with them. Look at Moses. When he came back to Pharaoh, when he came with a staff.
Right.
But within that staff, Allah's power was manifested to the people that bore witness to it, as well as to Pharaoh, what's going on this day and time. That's the reason why the Holy Apostle is here, because of religious people with the falsehood they're bringing forth in this day and time. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the thing Allah is bringing
Religious
forth.
people are lost. Just as the people that follow them are lost. When Ahezaah comes to them, now it's time, he has sent this man, this is my voice. Everyone is called to prostrate, to bow down to him, no matter what your rank, no matter what your order is. And that's those people who are of power and of influence, that's going to be their particular trial, as the people who have less power. They've got something that they've got to come to grips with in facing the reality that the true reality.
Allah got Malachi open right now for us right now. I'm going to read a little bit what Allah said in Malachi. In chapter 3, Allah sending down. Reason why we read from these books is to show the universality of Allah, the universal religion and truth for this day and time. We call Allah in all of its names for this day and time, whether it be Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh, Ansareh, Amin-Ra, Ahura Mazda, Brahma. They're all the one and same Lord, sent to the different languages and different peoples at a different time. But it's but one Lord. And Allah says in Malachi, behold, I will send my message before thee, that he shall prepare the way before me. And the Lord whom ye seek shall suddenly come to his temple, even a message to the covenant with whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts. But Allah says again, but who may abide the day of his coming? Who shall stand when he appears? He's here. He's standing here. Who's going to stand before him and take him at a word that Allah is with him?
But how can I stand with him when I am lost because my teacher is lost? If the teachers today are lost, then the flock is lost. Now, if the teachers cannot understand or see the trueness of Lord Holy-Apostle, if they're running, then that's going to keep many of us from finding that.
The Lord is I believe the Lord is just. So there's certainly not to defend the teachers or those leaders, because they're going to get their recompense. Everyone gets their recompense for the share. But then it's called the Holy Quran and other books. The followers themselves has a calling that they weigh as being accurate, true, or not true, and they've got to sincerely ask the proper questions. They got to sincerely investigate. Each and every individual is answerable to their Lord of all worlds.
One thing Ahezaah done for me, true indeed.
Nothing between.
One thing Ahezaah done for me, when it brought me forth through different religions to the way it brought me to this day and time. One thing it did bless me to do and understand is that if I'm gonna be a sincere believer, whatever I came to at the time was Christianity. If I really say I believe in the Lord, I'm going to try the Lord in his word. I'm going to try the Lord in his word. That's one thing, people don't want to try the Lord on his word. I ask the Lord, if you are sincere, you really say who you are, and I say I'm going to believe in you, then show me. It took me back through his book again, from Genesis to Revelation at that time. And it was not the same book. Because I tried to read with my own understanding, my own mindset, thinking I knew. But when the Lord reads the book to you, it's a different book. Because Allah had to reveal to you, as it did to Muhammad, to Jesus, to Moses, what it means, what it says, because it's the author of his book, it's the know of his book. It gives what it means of his book to each individual person. And back to what Brother Fakir was saying, not that I'm going to piggyback on what he said, because Ahezaah let everybody know they have what they call a soul. They have a conscience, which is the voice of the soul. Part of that thing goes back again, when people hear the truth, Jesus said to make you free. Part of that truth comes in dealing with the blind faith that Ahezaah speaks about. You have to trust. You ain't always know everything, and you ain't gonna see the light at the end of the tunnel. But if you truly seek to believe, you seek to have that faith and that trust in the Lord, then you will find that Allah, like He said, will make all things known to you, like Jesus told the disciples. In all things will be made known to you.
By the source.
By the source, the one that sent me. But I'm the guiding point. I'm the standing point. The messenger is the man who you're tried by, because he looks like you, he's in flesh and blood like you, and the tribe comes in with the people of the world, and that you see this man, he look like me. How can he be the one
So
sent?
these are not just stories. These are reports of something that has happened and it's going to happen and it's coming. And are you going to be able to tolerate the messenger when are you going to be able to handle the Lord?
The minister said something very interesting. He said he went to the source. He questioned the source. He questioned the law.
That's
many of us stopped. Many of us stopped there.
Not so much I question the source. See, what people do, like you mentioned earlier, is that they hear the minister, the rabbi, the imam speaking, and they go with that. My thing was this, seeking truth. Allah got me that.
This is what I want.
I'm going to try to, I hear what they're saying, but if that's going to be in conjunction with my soul and harmony with the Lord sent down of his word, that's the thing I'm talking about. This is the thing that people that sit in the pews going to be accounted for, taking accountability on the day when they pass off from this life into the life after here.
So they didn't practice.
Did not my message come to you? I didn't know in my hand. If Allah says to us, once the message comes forth, he makes the joke every now and then, says that, you know, I'm sorry that you met me. And in saying that, you're accountable now for what the word I'm passing on to you. Whether you believe me or not, whether you accept it or not. You're accountable for that. And that's the thing, people don't want to take an accountability of what the Lord have shown them. They don't want to call to accountability that men of the faith before them. You understand?
But you should be giving greatest thanks to your Lord for having you, man. That's where your spirit, that's where you're supposed to be. You know?
All praises due to Ahezaah. I bear witness here in Allah so much, for I bear witness there is none worthy with but Ahezaah and that Holy-Apostle Deen Saleem prophet on this show right here now, because Allah blessed me to feel that. And it is real in this day and time. It has to be known. If we don't stand for a first head part of this community, how the hell do we have other people, excuse me, deal with that?
I understand and feel it.
But you understand what I'm saying?
That's
If we can't bear with you this, they ain't gonna deal with that.
No, they
You
understand.
know? That's the thing. Look at the people of Elijah, how he did them. They stood for this man, they heard the truth, they cleaned themselves up, Allah cleaned them up through them, you know, and they believed in the message. Now, you can't tell me Allah had sent Elijah as a forerunner to Holy-Apostle Deen. Allah had been to his temple. Holy-Apostle been to his temple.
That's right.
Now he's the one that's here to bring the book, the covenant, and teach the true religion that these so-called people out here say they're teaching, or professing to believe, or saying they are in. You know, that's the thing we have to stand for. And I thank Allah much. I use Allah for blessing me to be in this day and time to bear witness to his prophecy, what's going on today, so that we can say we are witness bearers. You know, we are the first one to bear witness to what Allah sent through this man. The people of Elijah were the witness bearers to him. The people of Jesus were witness bearers to him. The disciples, the people of Moses. See, Allah gave a community to his messengers to bear witness to the Lord Israel.
Yes.
And that's the thing that people need to know.
Lord, Ahezaah says to every community, it will send a messenger, it will send a witness, it will send a word from among yourselves.
Speaking the language that you speak, so that it may make things clear for you.
And his being here, he's calling the 144,000, speaking about it again in the Book of Revelations.
The prophesied.
We have to get them out there to understand. Test Allah's word. Test your Lord Almighty. Because
I'm going to make it even simpler than that.
Yeah.
One thing he gave me was such a beautiful thing. It was so simple. You believe in the Lord? Try the Lord. Get on your prayer carpet. You go into your closets and worship. Oh, we run out of time, man. Allah is so merciful. I want to thank you for tuning in with us on an I-Have moment. We pray Allah gets you to tune in again, and you have a good evening.
Of you want to do things right, to keep up with keeping your lives tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you